All right, I wanted to try to do something a little bit different. Ran into some problems though. This sketch pad that I have, it's not really designed for pen. So while it was fine for pencil, when I went to try to use my regular rapidograph pens, which I couldn't find, thank you kids, the pen I did that I did have available wouldn't draw on the paper. So it's kind of got like a not like a waxy finish to it, like for kind of like for watercolor paints. So I wound up using a Sharpie marker, and I don't know. It's the first time I've done a sketch in a very long time. So kind of like everything else, this is something I used to do professionally. Back in the day, I was a professional illustrator. Didn't really go very far. If I would have stuck with it, I think I could have been a legitimate comic book artist. But at the time, I just didn't have. I didn't have a means to support myself, and just like everything else, it's just one of those things that just kind of got shoved to the back to do other things that were easier to do, like military and construction. And there's somewhere in there, there's a thought about following your dreams and your passions. But one thing I've learned through life is, like, you got to support yourself, you got to support a family, you got to do all that stuff. I think it's better, instead of trying to pursue your passions, it's better to bring your passion with you. Bring passion to whatever you're doing, as opposed to try to follow your passions, because not all of us are it's not easy to find a job you love. And at the end of the day, you still got to eat. You know what I mean? So, would it have been cool? Do I regret not sticking with it? Yeah, some days. Absolutely. Although one thing I did notice is when I used to illustrate, just draw pictures for myself, just like everything else, I would have a blast. I would just spend endless hours, and it was awesome. But as soon as I had to do other people's artwork, like you tell me you want me to draw you something, I found that it really quickly became mundane, and I had no interest in it. It became work. You know what I mean? So it's a weird thing that happens when you're being creative, when you're working from your own mind, and you're making something for you. It's a lot more fun than if you have to reproduce what other people want you to do. I wonder if being a tattoo artist is a lot like that. Because that's something I also considered getting into. I don't know, it's interesting. What do you guys think about that? Following your passions. I mean, how many of you are fortunate enough to have been able to pursue careers that they absolutely love? Like right now, I work commercial construction, and the job I currently have, I love. I love this job. That being said, if I still had the choice of staying home or going to work, I would still stay home and not go to work. So what does that tell you? But I don't mind. I don't mind going to work. I like the people I work with, but it's still a job. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, especially those long 14, 15-hour days, sweating your butt off in the heat, man. Yeah, summertime's here. Make sure you guys stay hydrated. Oof. It's so strange. I can watch time-lapse videos, especially like artwork type stuff, even if it's not like great. There's just something mesmerizing about watching everything kind of propagate on the screen. Now, if on a scale of 1 to 10, if like Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man is a 10, my artwork here is probably a 2. But this is the first sketch I've done in a really long time, and I was really rusty. I wound up having to erase it a few times because the proportions were off. But like anything else, it's one of those skills that I'm actually really good. I have some pretty. I would consider myself a pretty high level illustrator, and if I'll start doing some sketching again and kind of like knock the rust off. And I think, and once I get some proper pens and a much better equipment, because the kids stole all my pencils and all of my good illustrating pens. I don't have to use a Sharpie marker. God, it's hard to draw with a Sharpie marker. I mean, you're kind of married to the thickness of the lines. But point being, I think once I get some better preparation and knock the rust off a little bit, I'll start doing some better. I think I'm capable of doing some pretty good artwork. So we'll see. Let me know if you guys like this or not. It was fun. I haven't done this in a while, and I forgot how much I enjoyed doing it. All right, let's dive into some comments. First one of the day. JA37D-34. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. It's a cute doggo. I was showing my St. Bernard in the last video, though she passed away, unfortunately. Never had a huge dog, only a small, like Jack Russell's, but had some friends with it, among them one looks like yours. Real nice doggo, that one. Also cool art. Thank you. Yeah, obviously I showed the artwork I showed in that video. I had done that, and God, I think some of those are like 20 years old. That's back when I was illustrating regularly, and I was using Paint Shop Pro to color. Nowadays, it's way easier to do coloring using Photoshop or Paint Shop Pro. But back when I was doing those, it was still kind of hunt and peck. It was hard to do. It was almost easier to pencil ink it, scan it into the computer, and then from there color it. But now the way everything's progressed, you can almost just get a pad and a pen and just draw it directly right on the computer, and it's like a one-to-one almost. I still like to do it the old school way. There's something about just having a nice pad of paper. I really enjoy that. I just had a sneezing fit. These allergies are killing me. Man. But anyway, the dogs. We actually had a Jack Russell Terrier when I grew up. Right now, we've always had big dogs. Our two St. Bernards both passed away. They both lived a very nice long 13 years, which is very long for a St. Bernard. It's always such a bummer, though. And the one thing that bums me out about the large breeds is when they do start to go, no matter how healthy they are, they just decline. It's so sad to watch them go through not being able to move. Like, you have to pick them up to take them outside. And the smaller dogs, I don't know. There's just no... It's one of those unfortunate things about owning dogs. There's no good... They leave us too quickly. I guess I'll leave it at that. But we got a puppy now. Prince, he's gonna be a big boy, man. I think he's gonna be the biggest dog we've ever owned. And he is a hairy bitch. All right, next comment. Soulman 2546. It's kind of, I guess, brings us to the topic of today's video, if there is one. I've been playing Warhammer 40k since 1991, and I'm fully vested in the lore. I don't like that they want to put identity politics into the game. Games Workshop has to understand that insulting their base fans will only lose them money. But it's like these DEI hires don't play the game. They want to destroy it. They don't care. It really upsets me that they're doing this. I may start boycotting the game if they continue, and I've spent a lot of money just to enjoy painting the miniatures. Keep doing more of this. As a fellow Gen Xer, I agree with what you're saying. I suspect that if you talk to people our age, the sentiment's going to be pretty consistent across the board. Because we grew up with it. We grew up with it, and it's just like when Disney bought Star Wars. You know, people were like, what do you care? It's just stupid kids' movies. Yeah, Star Wars. I didn't really... When George Lucas came out with he did the first three, which are, timeless classics. Sometimes we'll take a weekend and just watch them. Then he came out with the prequels. And I was like, some of the storytelling, the politics, maybe I was a little too young to appreciate it, but I didn't care for a lot of it. And it's funny because now, because of what Disney did to Star Wars, it made the prequels better. And I think over the years, all the tie-in materials, like they did the Clone Wars cartoon series, and that it just made the story better. So then when you go back and visit the older movies, they're better now than when they came out. But this new Disney, what they did with these new movies, it's bad storytelling. Like, if you take out the fact that Rey is a Mary Sue, and her character arc was literally just exploring her power. Like, she didn't have to do any training. She was just already the strongest and the best and could do everything. And did she even have to struggle at any point? She was lonely. I guess her character arc was finding a name. I don't know. I don't know what her character arc was. But then that last movie was so insultingly bad, it actually made me angry to watch. When they just brought Palpatine back. He's back. Like, what? Like, you could tell you had two directors that didn't like the way that each one of them wrote their whatever sequel. They didn't like the way each other did them dirty, so they overwrote each other. And by the time he got to the last movie, J.J. Abrams just like pulled some crap out of his hat to erase all the work that what's his name did, and he just Palpatine's back, ta-da, and you had like a bunch of Snoke clones in a mason jar, and it's just like what the hell? Like it was, and then at the end with the Star Destroyers coming out of the ground, and I was just. I'm starting to stutter because it was so insultingly bad. It literally, my head started hurting. Like, I couldn't believe how bad the storytelling was. But the special effects, and the special effects were bad by default because the story was so bad. It didn't matter how good the special effects were. The special effects were kind of cool. I'll give them that. If you're one of those guys and you just want to like mindlessly watch a movie and see stuff blow up, I could see it being enjoyable. But if you're like a nerd like me who was really, really into the story, you just watched that movie and you were just like in disbelief. Well, that's kind of what they just keep doing. They keep doing to these IPs because they turn them over to people that had no investment in the original storytelling. Like George Lucas wanted to be a consultant for those movies, and they kind of slowly pushed him out. And they didn't keep any of his people around, and they replaced everybody with these feminist activists and whatever. And they even openly admitted that they didn't care for the way George told his story, and they wanted to change it. I mean, we knew. That aside, you changing the story, you adding female custodies to the lore, that in itself isn't the problem. We've made this argument ad nauseum. It's the way you tell the story. How many of you guys ever watch anime like Netflix redid Voltron? It's another one we grew up with. Voltron, hell yeah! When they redid it, the art was good, and there was some LGBT stuff in there. One of the main characters was gay, and it was heavily implied that one of the Voltron lions was trans. But the way they told the story, it was a feature of the person and not their personality. It wasn't everything that they were about. It's like, and you even though you did kind of pick up on it, it wasn't intrusive, it wasn't political, and it was very well done, and I had no problems with it. I mean, it wasn't really until the series was over and I was thinking about it, and I was like, do I have a problem with this or not? Is this something I mind my kids watching? Do I feel like they're trying to indoctrinate them? And I was like, well, maybe if they were, it was very subtle and it was very well done, because first and foremost, they focused more on telling the story than they did pushing the ideology. And that's what they need to do. If you want to be all inclusive and you want to include these different archetypes and these different characters, and you want to introduce the old fuddy-duddies like me to the newer generations, what's important to them, their ideology, what they think that their worldview is, even though they haven't formulated one yet, then tell a good story and introduce us to it. Convince us. You know what I mean? And don't just jam it in our face like like you're trying to brand cattle. Yeah, take it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not how you do it. You don't antagonize your current fan base for a prospective new one. You want to bring new people, and you want to grow your business, and you want to include more people. We agree. You got to have more people to keep the business going. You keep the business going, you can tell more stories. You tell more stories, you can sell more miniatures. You sell more miniatures, the game keeps going on and on and on. And over the years, it changes. It has changed. It will continue to change. It will always change. This one, though, just felt like it was just insulting the way they did it. And look, we've rehashed this argument a million times, and they still are gaslighting. They're still just saying that we're the problem. We just don't want women in our space, And it's like, no, God, and that's what they're going to do. They will not acknowledge the subtle point we're trying to make. They will not acknowledge that we don't have a problem with women in our spaces. They will not acknowledge that Warhammer is already very diverse and it has women factions. They won't acknowledge any of the things they're saying. They just say that we don't like women, we're a bunch of bigots, and if we have a problem with it, then we are the problem. And that's just the way it is. It's just like YouTube comments. It's like people that leave me crappy comments on my bench videos or my squats, or they tell me my form is wrong or that a lift doesn't count. And then when you ask them why, they don't have an argument. They're just there to be insulting. They don't really have a reason. They don't know why having an arch in your bench is bad. And they can't know why, because it isn't bad. There's no logic behind it. Their statements. They just know they don't like it, and they're going to let you know they don't like it. I don't like you either. And then the other thing they do, the thing that I think is the worst of all, that makes me so mad, is we present topics of discussion. I'm presenting you with an opinion. This is my opinion on this cup. I'm going to say, I think that this off-brand is better than the Yeti. The Yeti cost $60. This was $35, and it keeps my coffee hotter. There's some Yeti fanboys out there who spend hundreds of dollars on Yeti coolers and Yeti mugs and Yeti whatever, and they got Yeti stuck on their Forerunners with fake fording kits. And then they're gonna be like, no, yeah, Yeti's better, and you're stupid. You don't know anything about camping. You've probably never done camping in your life, and you're dumb. And they attack me. They don't have an objective opinion about what I presented, which is whether this cup's better than the Yeti or not. They're attacking me because there's no way I could know anything about camping, and there's no way I could survive in the wild. And you know what I mean? They don't attack the argument. They attack the person presenting the argument. Always, 100%. If you go back and look at all the derogatory comments of all the videos that I've posted, not once did they have an opinion on the actual opinion that I've put forth. All of them attacked me personally. And that's what they do. They don't have an actual opinion. They don't have an actual argument. They just know they don't like us, and they want us out of their space, plain and simple. The people in the middle, like the guys more on our side, the one thing that annoys me that they do is they're super dismissive of the whole thing. They're like, any grown man that has an opinion on this, it's just so stupid. It says way more about you than you. Why do you even care? It's just toys, like that argument. I get a lot of like, well, it doesn't bother me, so it shouldn't bother anybody. I don't care. I think it's stupid. And anybody who doesn't think it's stupid is stupid. It's like real condescending, sanctimonious. Sanctimonious, that's the word. And it's like, you're going to make me feel bad for having an opinion on something. You don't get to tell me what I like or don't like, and I don't need to justify myself to anybody. We're passionate about what we're passionate about, and don't ever let anyone make you feel bad if you like something that's not popular or mainstream or maybe could look down upon. They do that a lot too. You like what you like, and you are who you are. And if there's one thing this channel's about, it's be who you are. And there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And stand up for the things that you think are important. Don't let anybody's opinion of what you want and what you like dictate what you ask for. Because that's the worst. That's the worst when you want something, when you find out that other people have a low opinion of it. So you maybe hide it, or you don't let anyone know you like it. That's what we do, and that's what we have done our entire lives. And it's like, no, I like this stuff, and screw you. It's important to me. That's all that matters. What can I say? God Almighty! I got online this morning, and I was looking at all the videos that are on the subject. I kind of thought it would start dying down by now, but it's not. It's gotten way worse. Like these people are going off. Like they're eating their own. Everybody's attacking each other. It's gotten ugly. Over one sentence, somebody posted that there are now female custodies, and somebody asked, since when has that happened? And then a Games Workshop guy got online and posted one sentence. There has always been female custodians. And that is all it took to send the entire miniature tabletop gaming community across the world into an absolute shitstorm. Oh man, it's kind of entertaining. It's fun to watch some of this stuff. Ugh. I gotta get to work. I love you guys. I will see you on the battlefield.